The original Tomb Raider was released in late 1996, and despite its main character Lara Croft quickly becoming something of an icon for Sony, the game actually debuted on the rival Sega Saturn platform 3 weeks prior to the PlayStation version. Tomb Raider was a smash hit, gathering high praise across the board from gamers and critics alike. It went on to win several industry awards and became one of the top-selling PlayStation games of all time, shifting over 7 million copies. A sequel, Tomb Raider 2, was released the following year, selling almost as many copies and cementing Tomb Raider's place as a major gaming franchise. The gameplay was expanded to include new weapons, moves and vehicles, and a more varied set of environments to explore. The graphics were also improved, with a higher polygon count, dynamic lighting, and other tweaks such as having Lara's hair sway in a ponytail rather than being tied up in a static block. Tomb Raider 3 followed a year later in 1998, again to positive feedback from critics and fans, though some reviewers noted that the game's formula was starting to wear a bit thin. Tomb Raider 3 was another massive sales success, selling 6 million copies across the world, and again saw an expanded set of moves for Lara, along with improved graphics and a new set of locations. Lighting effects were upgraded again, and new features like weather and particle effects were added. A fourth Tomb Raider game, entitled Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation, was released for PlayStation in 1999. However, this game was different to the previous Tomb Raider titles in a few ways, one of which was to completely omit the Croft Manor tutorial area. The Last Revelation was followed by the final Tomb Raider game on the original PlayStation, Tomb Raider Chronicles, but this too lacked any kind of playable Croft Manor level. As a result, on the original PlayStation at least, Lara's mansion is only playable in the first 3 Tomb Raider games. Like the games themselves, Croft Manor would evolve and expand with each title, starting with the original Tomb Raider. In this game, the mansion is in its most basic form, consisting of a library, music room, main hall, a ballroom, and a swimming pool. You can look out of the windows to see a crude rendering of the outside world, though this isn't accessible to the player and is actually just a flat texture rendered on a wall outside the mansion, designed to give the illusion of an outside world. The game starts you off in the library, which consists of a few reading chairs, a purple table, and a huge fireplace. From here you go into the music room, which has been fitted out to include some gymnastics mats and is where the game teaches you the basics of jumping.
Now press it again and quickly press one of the directions and I'll jump that way.
With that out of the way, you make your way into the main hall, with some crates left helpfully piled up in the middle of the room, perfect for climbing on. There aren't really any secrets hidden in this first version of the mansion, but one thing of note is this artifact here, which bears a curious likeness to the Ark of the Covenant from the first Indiana Jones movie. Once you're done with the crates, you move on to the ballroom, which has also been converted for use as a training area. You get to practice the more advanced jumps here, along with ledge climbing and shimmying.
Well, let's do some exercises. I don't actually run everywhere. When I want to be careful, I walk. Hold down the walk button and walk to the white line. With the walk button down, I won't fall off even if you try to make me. If you want to look around, press and hold the look button, then press in the direction you want to look. Press forward and almost immediately press and hold the jump button. I won't actually jump until the last minute. Right, this is a really big one. So do a running jump exactly as before, except while I'm in the air, press and hold the action button to make me grab the ledge. Nice.
On to the final room. This is where you learn the swimming controls.
Let's go for a swim.
There is also one extra little discovery to make here, which is that if you hold R1 while jumping into the pool, Lara will perform a swan dive instead of a regular jump, though you can also do this elsewhere in the game, and even break Nara's neck if you do it in the wrong place. As much as Croft Manor is a great tutorial area in the first game, Tomb Raider 2 is where the mansion really comes into its own. This time, not only can you explore the mansion interior, you also get to explore outside, which is where the tutorial starts this time around. The miscellaneous crates make a return in the form of an assault course. Climbing onto the crates will trigger a timer, allowing you to run your own time trials on the course, though there are no in-game rewards for getting a particularly fast time. At the end of the assault course, there is a basic looking arboretum within a walled area, which adds a nice touch to make it feel more like a real location, though ultimately serving no in-game purpose. Exploring the grounds further will take you past a fountain and into a hedge maze. If you're lucky enough to find your way to the centre, you'll notice a dark pit that leads to an enclosed area with a box of flares on the floor and a randomly placed switch. Pressing the switch will trigger a cutscene to a door opening somewhere inside the mansion. If you can escape the maze and reach the door in time, you'll gain access to a secret room within Croft Manor. Inside is a kind of viewing room for various treasures that Lara has acquired during her adventures. If you've played the Unfinished Business edition of the first Tomb Raider game, you might recognise one of these as the cat idol from the Temple of the Cat level, and this is actually modelled on a real-life statue, known as the Geyer Anderson cat, which is housed in the British Museum. There is also another kind of secret revealed by the flares. One of the doors leading off from the main hall landing will take you to the attic, which is pitch black when you first enter. Equipping a flare will enable you to see the contents of the attic, though it's nothing like as exciting as the treasure room, and consists mainly of crates covered in protective sheets. The rest of the mansion is quite similar to the original version, though with a few changes and some extra details. The fireplace in the library looks a bit more realistic now, and the music room has had the gymnastics mats removed, and the crates from the main hall have finally been cleared away. The ballroom has likewise had its gymnastics equipment removed, and there is a newly accessible kitchen area, including a walk-in freezer. In addition to Lara herself, there is also an NPC roaming around Croft Manor in the form of Winston the Butler. He doesn't really serve much purpose, but he does occasionally get in Lara's way, which can be frustrating if you are trying to run back from the maze before the treasure room door locks. Inventive players found a way around this, however, and discovered that it's actually possible to lock Winston in the freezer. By allowing him to follow you in, you are able to run out and shut the door before he's had chance to follow you, trapping him inside and ensuring that he no longer gets in the way when trying to escape from the hedge maze. The pool room is largely the same as the first time, though there is now a diving board, ideal for practicing Lara's swan dive. You can also now get out of the pool and continue exploring the mansion, whereas in the first game the tutorial was automatically ended once you completed your swim. Tomb Raider 3 is where Lara's mansion really comes into its own. Like the main levels of the game, Croft Manor was further expanded in scope from the previous two games, and now features multiple secret areas, including another trophy room, an aquarium, and a racetrack. You start inside the mansion this time, though unlike in the first game, you start in Lara's bedroom, which was previously inaccessible. You can access Lara's ensuite bathroom, which includes a huge bath big enough to swim in. There's also a walk-in cupboard, which is empty aside from a box of flares on the floor, which will come in useful later. The library is pretty similar to how it is in Tomb Raider 2, with the main differences being the colour and lighting due to the level being set in the early evening as opposed to broad daylight. The music room is also quite similar, though for some reason the enormous gold harp has been removed and there is now a massive TV in the middle of the room, along with a lounger of some sort. On to the main hall. This is pretty similar again, though you can now access even more rooms from here, including the dining room. Due to the lack of an outside assault course, the ballroom has been refitted with various blocks of gymnastic equipment, and it's here that the game talks you through Lara's latest set of moves. The swimming pool is very similar to how it was in Tomb Raider 2, and again the main differences are in the colour and lighting due to the change in the time of day. The kitchen has broadly the same layout as in Tomb Raider 2, but has been completely redecorated with new cupboards, walls and worktops. The walk-in freezer makes a return, and you can still use it to trap the butler. One new feature in this version of Croft Manor is playable music. If you hit the switch in the dining room, you can turn on some background music, though it's limited to just one track. Outside, the assault course returns with a few changes. It's been gated off this time, so you need to run all the way around the mansion to get to it. The first section is broadly the same, and it's just a matter of using the basic jump moves to get through it. Later on, there is now a swimming section, as well as some more advanced climbing areas and a zip wire. You also need to use Lara's new crawl move, which lets you access a set of pistols for use in the last section. There's a couple of new secrets this time around. The first one is accessed by hitting a switch in the swimming pool area and running to this newly opened door here. If you pull the handle and sprint to the other side, you should have just enough time to do a somersault jump into a room displaying artefacts from several previous games, including a golden head that bears a passing resemblance to the golden idol from the first Indiana Jones movie. The other secret is a bit harder to get to, but even more rewarding. To get to it, you need to find and pull out the special book in the library which turns off the fire. You can then jump up and access a hidden area with a couple of blocks. By moving these out the way, you can pull the lever at the end of the room to open up the secret room downstairs that previously housed the treasure room in Tomb Raider 2. This time around, however, it's an enormous aquarium. If you're feeling brave, you can find your way up above the ceiling and then jump in for a swim. If you explore far enough, you'll come across a key on the floor of the tank. You can then use this to unlock the gate outside what used to be the maze in the previous game. Going in, you'll come across the final secret of Croft Manor. Instead of a maze, the whole area has been rebuilt into a private racetrack, complete with a quad bike that Lara can ride.
Hey, I like the look of this. To jump on, walk up to the vehicle and press the action button.
You can use this to set and beat your own fastest times, though again there's no prize for setting a good time. This brings us to the end of our journey around Croft Manor. We hope you enjoyed the tour. Thanks for watching.